Good morning, everyone. Um, as we are letting more people coming to the webinar, we're just going to be waiting for maybe another 15 seconds as we have more people coming in. Um, Lots of familiar names coming in to thank you for the opportunity to be here today. It's a real privilege for me to be with you all and to present this webinar about AI, how to get ready for AI, and in particular with a focus on Microsoft Copilot, and most importantly, how to be ready to work differently, how to be ready to embrace a new world. I can see that there's almost 15, 20 people coming in right now in the call. I'd like to maybe starting by introducing myself. My name is Rija Raharinosy. I'm the vice president here. I'm in charge of unified communications, customer experience, and AI at Solulan. As I said, it's a real privilege for me to be here and to be your host for this webinar. We do have quite a lot of really interesting content for you to share today. And before we dive in, I just wanted to make sure we go through some minor housekeeping. This call is going to be recorded. Um, the recording will actually be available on our YouTube channel that some of you are actually familiar already. Also important to know that this call, as many of the webinars, the monthly webinars that we are hosting with you, some of you are people who are attending our webinars on a regular basis. This webinar is actually going to be including a Q&A, a live Q&A session. We want these webinars to be a live discussion, to be an interactive discussion. So I have an entire team behind me of people who are actually going to be able to answer all of your questions, your comments. So please, there will be a Q&A session at the end of the presentation. We're going to be here for about an hour. So please stay until the end of the presentation because there will be an important announcement. But again, should you have any questions, any comments, please fire them up. Use the Q&A button available to you here because, as I said, I have a team of people who are actually going to be answering your questions live, and the answers will be shared with everyone. So by any means, don't hesitate. We do have a lot of content today. So with no further ado, I'd like to move on to the agenda of our call today. This is a webinar that obviously focuses on Microsoft Copilot and on AI in general. Very quickly, I'm going to be introducing who we are as a Microsoft partner, what we do. It's going to be a very short presentation about ourselves. Some of you are not familiar with us, so we thought it might be important to make sure that you know who we are and what we do. And then we're actually going to go start the deep dive within AI. I'd like to share some early findings that Microsoft has shared when they actually launched Microsoft Copilot. We're going to talk about these early findings and how they're actually changing perception of AI within the employee base, how to prepare for this new era that you and I are actually entering into, that technology is actually bringing in. It's a new era. It's a new sense of work. It's a new way of actually dealing with technology. And it's actually going to require that all of us prepare. So we have some recommendations and some ideas on how to prepare and how to help you prepare. We'll then go into the two offerings that are really important to understand as you dive into this new era. Is obviously a deep dive around Copilot, but then Copilot for Microsoft 365 will explain really the difference between the two and how it's important that you have a strategy in place as you adopt these services, because they're slightly different in the way they do provide productivity to your team. Obviously, we're going to have to talk about money. At the end of the day, the world is changing. It's going to be important that you understand how this is all going to provide you a return on investment. So there's a segment that I have prepared to talk about return on investment as you think about adopting Microsoft Copilot. And there's a last segment that we're going to be talking about is around Deep Desk and not DeepSeek, which has nothing to do with Deep Desk. Deep Desk is a copilot that us at Solulan are actually proposing to some of our customers who have customer service agents. Deep Desk is an offering. It's a copilot. It really is a copilot that we have deployed for some of our largest customers who are using, who have a lot of agents and wanted to automate or optimize the work that is provided by those agents. And I wanted to actually feature that solution here for you. And again, full disclosure, this has nothing to do with DeepSeek, which is another AI assistant coming from China. This is a Deep Desk. This is an offering that we provide to our customers that, again, is a copilot for customer service agent. As I mentioned before, there will be a Q&A session that will allow you to ask as many questions as you want and allow you to basically interact with my team. And don't hesitate to fire up these questions right away because we're going to be able to address them as we go into the webinar. So very quickly, for those of you who are not familiar about us, we are a Microsoft partner. We've been in the business since 1999. We really are very close with Microsoft since the beginning of our mission. See us as a Microsoft partner that is really here to assist you by offering you the most professional, the most innovative services to implement solutions and optimize your organizations. That's our mission statement. Obviously, we are a Microsoft partner, so we obviously see ourselves as expert around the Microsoft stack. But as we grow and as we work with customers, a lot of product and services are actually also being complementing the Microsoft offering. And we see ourselves being experts in some of the solutions that you see here. You see some of the logos. So in the contact center / telephony world, we're a fully certified Genesys partner, Core AI for generative AI, Deep Desk, which is this Copilot offering that we have for you, and obviously the Dynamics 365 contact center offering, which is also something that we provide to our customers. Okay. Very quickly, for those of you who don't know about us, we have about 85 employees, all spread across various offices. We have 5 offices, including one in the States that we've opened last year. All of our experts are fully certified with all the solutions that we provide to our customers. We do manage, obviously, we do have managed services offerings where we help customers on a day-to-day basis. We basically help them. We take over the entire, either a department or the entire IT department, and we fully manage them. We have about 30,000 users that we manage on a daily basis, and we have about 600 clients that we are actively managing between Canada and the US. See us really as a partner with 3 major, I would say, pillars. One, we're experts. We really want to be experts. For the past 25 years, we've been providing not only Microsoft, but like I said, some really expertise around solutions to help our customers be more innovative. We are a one-stop shop because we can help you doing everything you need from technology projects all the way to managed services to cybersecurity. And also, we are flexible. We want to be very flexible in the way we work with you, whether it's for different requirements or needs that you have, or whether it's a short-term or long-term project. We are here to help you. Our services include managed services, telephony, IT, migrations towards the cloud, and also cybersecurity. So really see us as a one-stop shop, and that's what we do in all these different offices that we have. Okay, so now as we move into our discussion around AI, there's a couple of things that really is important to make sure that we come across here. We really find ourselves at a unique moment in time that is made possible in large part of because of the digitization of business. You may have been able to see and witness it, but there are entire industries that are quickly, rapidly transforming, and the macroeconomic environment is shifting. We can say that we're really, because of technology, we really are at an inflection point today. And that inflection point really, we have not experienced diffusion of technology at this scale for a long time. When we look at the way AI is being adopted, what we see really is not exactly the slope that you and I have been used when we look at former technologies such as mobile phones or the internet. We really see a vertical line. What you see here really is a line that represents the time it took for ChatGPT to reach 100 million users. So it's absolutely staggering the amount of users that this technology has been able to use, and this is really because there's not only a need, but there's really a lot of acceleration that this technology allows. One thing that when I mentioned in the agenda that I had before, one of the things that Microsoft has done when they launched Copilot back in 2023, before they went GA with Copilot, what they did is they basically launched Copilot internally across multiple departments around sales, IT, engineering, and marketing. And one of the predominant narratives that you and I have heard about AI is the notion that a lot of employees are really fearful as AI could ultimately put them out of a job. So while it's true that I would say about 49% of the respondents in the study had some real concerns about job security, what happened throughout the study is that a staggering 70% of all the people who started to use Copilot still choose to delegate as much work as possible to an AI assistant. Why? Because they needed to lessen the workload. The digital debt, that notion of work that is really piling up, the digital debt is so that what really that study has revealed is that employees know what's in it for them, and the promise of relief by far outweighs the threat of losing their jobs. So about the entirety of the users really at Microsoft felt disappointed if they no longer had access to Copilot. Over 80% of them would not want to go back working without Copilot, and a little over almost half of these employees really would express the fact that it would influence the choice of an employer to be able to have these tools that helps them to be more productive. When the study came out, what really came out overwhelmingly is that the value was there from all across. Almost 90% of all the employees found themselves feeling more productive, spending way less time on mundane tasks, spending less time searching for information, being more efficient in the way they meet, spending less time processing, reading emails, completing tasks much faster. Lots of things that really have changed the way these employees have worked. And it's clear that as we move on into 2025, there's a recent study from MIT that has found that about 87, almost 90% of leaders today believe that artificial intelligence is actually going to give their business, their organization, a competitive edge. The question all these leaders is asking themselves right now really is how will their organization sees the full potential of AI? That's the big question, is how are they going to be able to seize that potential while safeguarding the business, safeguarding their data, and safeguarding their employees? That is really a big question. So now, as we move into the portion of the discussion, as we prepare ourselves, all of us, because in my business, it's all very similar. We had to prepare ourselves. We had to ask ourselves a lot of questions before you start on the path to artificial intelligence. It's really, really important that you and your organization, your board, pause and think through 5 important questions that you need to ask yourselves. First of all, as a business, what are your goals for using artificial intelligence? What are you trying to achieve? What are you trying to reach in terms of productivity? The second question would be, what are the pain points within the business that you think could be addressed with AI? Have you identified some areas where you really need to free up some talent because you're not using them to the utmost possibility of that talent available to you? What are your current AI capabilities? What are you able to provide? What are you able to start doing with AI? And does your organization have a data strategy in place? The AI is a fantastic tool, but if you do not have a data strategy in place, you're probably going to be putting yourself and your business is in a lot of trouble. And then the last question would be, do you have what it takes in terms of infrastructure, in terms of resources to support these AI initiatives that you're starting to put? Those really are all the questions that are going to guide you as you shape how you bring AI into your business. I would strongly recommend that you, with your board, with your leadership, ask yourselves these questions and then start becoming what we call this AI-powered organization. What is an AI-powered organization? Well, an AI-powered organization is going to see foundational productivity as a crucial element for enhancing efficiencies, integrating workflows, and adapting to evolving business needs. So what does that all mean? Well, when we talk about efficiency enhancements, we're talking about foundational productivity tools that streamline essential tasks, such as reducing time and effort spent on routine activities. This will allow your users to focus on higher value work and strategic initiatives. We're also talking about integrated workflows. These are tools that integrate with the existing applications and systems that are going to create a cohesive work environment within your organizations. And this integration is going to ensure that data and processes flow smoothly across different platforms, enhancing overall productivity within your organization. Okay? And finally, we talk about scalability and adaptability. Foundational productivity tools are designed to grow and adapt with your organization. They are going to provide a framework, a flexible framework that can accommodate the changing needs and evolving business processes that you have, that is going to ensure that you keep long-term efficiencies and effectiveness for your business. Okay? So how do you become an AI-powered business? Well, here at Solulan, we have basically, and we call this the Get AI Ready checklist. We're actually coming up with 3 steps that are going to help you, guide you towards what we call foundational productivity. The first step really is you need to start empowering your employees with a very secure tool like Microsoft Copilot that includes commercial data protection. That is really important, because you need to start helping your employees learn how to use Copilot in your workplace as an important way to get started with generative AI. And again, all of this securely. Security is going to be very important because the problem with other tools is you may not have that commercial data protection element that is going to potentially put your business in danger. And that is what Copilot is all about. Start with empowering your users using Copilot and help them with the skill development around using AI that is going to be critical for them to adapt and adopt Copilot for Microsoft 365 once it's available. And we're gonna show afterwards what it means once it's available, because it's really a multiple step. So first of all, empower your employees using Copilot. And using Copilot, which some of you may be aware of, Copilot has actually changed. That's the name that came up almost a year ago now, but it used to be called Bing Chat Enterprise. It's actually available directly in a browser. The reason why you want to start with Copilot is because it's protective, it's powerful, it's included into your existing Microsoft licenses, so you don't have to pay extra for it. So if you have enterprise or business licenses with Microsoft, so business premium, standard, Copilot actually already comes with it. You don't have to pay extra for it. Also, things that are really important about Copilot is, as I mentioned it before, your business data is protected. The Copilot is not going to save any of the prompts or any of the answers that are being provided to you. And any of the questions that you're actually feeding Copilot with are not being used to train the AI model. In terms of AI models, Copilot is going to use ChatGPT-4, GPT-4 for everything around text, so GPT-4 everything around text, but also DALL-E 3 for the generation of images. These are the latest in AI models, and like I said, these AI models are given to you at no extra cost, because as long as you do have the Microsoft Business or Enterprise licenses, it comes at no extra cost. And finally, Copilot is transparent and current. It means that all the answers being generated by Copilot are always coming with the data sources beyond its answers. Copilot is going to cite the sources for you. It's going to provide you the updated answers with no knowledge cutoff. That's really important. As you probably know, some of the other tools come up with a knowledge cutoff. That is not the case with Copilot. And all of the data that is coming is fully grounded into the Bing search index that is provided with Microsoft. Okay, so that's really how you wanna make sure. So some of you may ask now, okay, so Rija, this is all great, but really, what kind of efficiencies can we actually get from Copilot? Okay, so there's a lot of examples of efficiencies, workday efficiencies that you're actually going to get from Copilot. Your employees, your teams are going to be able to leverage Copilot to help them to do a lot of really important tasks, such as, for instance, summarizing lengthy 20, 50 page jargon-filled PDFs into short summaries or into bulleted summaries, all into Edge. Copilot is also a professional writer. You can ask Copilot to come up with the tone of your choice. You can ask Copilot to become really that writer that you may not necessarily have in your team, and it's going to draft all the content of your emails, your blogs for you, your captions for you. But it's also going to help you provide a much more powerful stock of image that are going to be used for all of the marketing that you provide today, for instance. Personally, I use Copilot a lot around learning new skills. It really helps me to tailor to my requirements when it comes to learning a new topics. It helps me to synthesize my knowledge. It's extremely powerful in the way it's explained, and you can actually ask Copilot to use um, different tones. I'll find myself in my prompts asking Copilot to explain something like I would be a 15-year-old like my daughter, and it's doing a really good job, and obviously getting answers on any complex questions that you may have. And one thing that I have actually done here is I've for those of you who are not necessarily familiar with everything around prompts, you're actually going to be interacting with Copilot using prompts. And these prompts, you're going to be able to use them in any type of settings. One of the settings that you're going to be able to use it typically is around meetings. That meeting, that feeling of being overwhelmed that we feel isn't just about constant back-to-backs, but it's also in the situations with meetings where we are constantly double booking ourselves. With Copilot, specifically, as I'm going to talk about Copilot in Microsoft Teams a little later, Copilot is actually going to help you make it easier to prioritize your most important meetings. And you can use the prompts that you can see on the screens and ask Copilot to summarize what was discussed in your meetings. What are the action items for you? Were there any outstanding decisions that were discussed? What was the feedback on this or this discussion? So really a lot of interesting discussions. One thing that is also very good about Copilot is about clarity. I use Copilot as a way to get clarity in when I write in Edge, or in, for that matter, in any application. Clarity, as you know, is key in communications, but perhaps it's even more critical in another setting. And I'm talking about the military settings. There's an anecdote of the famous French general, Napoleon. And Napoleon is known for bringing a corporal to meetings when his generals were presenting war plans. So Napoleon would ask the corporal, having heard these plans, would you know what to do? And if the answer was no, he would ask the generals to completely rewrite their plans. So with Copilot, you can do the same thing. You can use Copilot as a message testing. You can actually feed Copilot a blog and ask it to articulate the 3 key messages that you have. And if the messages doesn't make any sense to you, then you can rework on your blog, and you can ask Copilot to refine your blog. You can also ask Copilot to poke holes in a statement on a very tricky subject, on a topic. I typically use a prompt that says, if you wanted to disrupt this argument, what would you say? So as you probably can see in some of the examples that I've taken here, with Copilot as your brainstorming partner, you can actually find blind spots. You can sharpen your thinking, your positions, and you can expand that thinking so that you are clear and thoughtful in everything you're doing. Okay. So now that I've talked about Copilot, I think it's really I just wanted to show you that simplified view to understand the difference between Copilot and Copilot for Microsoft 365. You need to understand that we're actually talking about 2 different offerings here. Copilot is grounded in the current web data that is available through the Search Bing semantic index. It works very closely with Copilot for Microsoft 365. They work together to help your users in your organization being more productive, and at the same time will keep your company data protected. But we recommend that you start with Copilot to lay down the foundation of safety with commercial data protection. And once you are ready to become an AI-ready organization, once you are ready to start having access to data that is grounded in your company data, such as your emails, your meetings, your files, then we are going to help you explore and deploy Microsoft 365 Copilot. Okay? It's only once you have that base that we're going to recommend as the next step that you standardize into Microsoft 365 and that you enrich your AI experience by using Copilot for Microsoft 365 and getting your data into the Microsoft 365 cloud. Okay? Once you've moved your data to the Microsoft cloud, there is a very important step, which is to organize your business data and ensure that your users have access, have the right access, and have the correct access to your internal content. You need to understand that once you deploy Copilot for Microsoft 365, Copilot is going to inherit all of your organization's existing security, compliance, privacy policies. Your data, your existing data, your emails, your meetings, your chats, all that data is going to logically be isolated and protected within your Microsoft tenant, and it's going to always stay within your control. So by design, Copilot for Microsoft 365 is going to respect the user-specific and the group permissions to any content or information that it retrieves. And it's only generating the responses based on information that your users have explicitly have permission to access. And what we do as a Microsoft partner at Solulan is to help you assess your data, your security policies, and help you prepare your environment for a much better Copilot for Microsoft 365 experience and protect your sensitive data. Microsoft 365 is going to allow you to classify teams, your employees, to ensure that the right people are in the right conversations. Specifically, I want to talk about Business Premium as the Microsoft licensing SKU that I would strongly recommend that you look into if you do not have it yet, because Business Premium specifically includes some important security capabilities such as sensitivity labels, retention labels, and all of these are going to help your employees and going to help restrict the permissions in all the apps, the Microsoft 365 apps that they're using, and set up the retention labels and policies for email. Doing these work, this preparation, is going to help ensure that the semantic index for Copilot for Microsoft 365 is reasoning over the set of business context and content that will surface the most relevant and actionable information from within your organization to the end users. And what we really want is we want to avoid things like content oversharing and accidental leakage. That's really, really, really important. Okay? So that is the last step to become an AI-powered organization. Copilot for Microsoft 365 is going to be leveraging natural language, so the language that you and I are using to do business, but obviously leveraging the existing of these large language models, these LLMs, with your own data, your emails, your chats, your meetings, all infused within the Microsoft 365 apps that you're using every day, plus the power of the internet. All of this is really important to understand how the Microsoft approach works, because it's going to help, obviously, coming with the security, the compliance, the privacy, and all the responsible AI framework that is being used, so that you as an AI-powered organization, you can free your mind from the tools and the repetitive tasks, the routine, mundane tasks that you can spend more time focused on, and you can really spend more time on what matters the most, which really is running your day-to-day business, growing your customer base, building your brand, and scaling as a business. Okay, so as we're coming to a section now, I'm actually going to be showing you a series of videos on really how you can be more creative leveraging these apps that you may be using today. So you're going to be more creative using Word. You're going to augment your analytical capabilities in Excel. You're going to be more expressive in PowerPoint. You're going to be more productive in Outlook and more collaborative in Microsoft Teams. We're going to start with a deep dive with Excel, and you're going to be able to see that right now.
Copilot puts all the rich capabilities of Excel at your fingertips. Say you need to analyze this quarter's sales results for the monthly business review. You start by asking Copilot to analyze the data and give you 3 key trends. Within seconds, you've got what you need, but you want to drill in. You ask Copilot a follow-up question about one of the trends. Copilot creates a new sheet, giving you a sandbox to play in, and helping you get a better understanding of what's happening without modifying the data in the original sheet. You ask Copilot to visualize what contributed to the decline in sales growth this period. Copilot adds a little color to make the problem jump off the page. Now you want to dig a little deeper and ask a follow-up question with a what-if scenario. Copilot not only answers your question, it creates a simple model of the scenario, and even asks you if you want to learn more about what it did, with a step-by-step breakdown. Finally, you can ask it to create a graph of your projected model. Copilot has turned a sea of data into clear insights and actions. Imagine you have an appointment that conflicts with your weekly business review. What if you could do both? With Copilot, you can opt to follow a meeting. After the meeting ends, Copilot will summarize what you missed. You'll get a notification in Teams when the recap is ready. This recap will highlight content that was shared, summarize notes, and any action items for you or others whose names were mentioned. You see that one of your customers was discussed, and you want to learn more. You can ask Copilot clarifying questions, and it provides a detailed response. It can tell you why a certain decision was made, and gives you helpful context. You can even ask Copilot what other solutions were considered, and it provides citations from the transcript so you can see where Copilot drew these conclusions. It's a huge time saver. So that was pretty cool. But the real magic of Copilot happens during a live meeting. Let's say you're in a meeting with your team. You can ask Copilot to summarize the meeting so far. You can see how it summarizes who said what points were made, and it's really capturing the spirit of the discussion. And as the meeting progresses, you can check in on where people stand. You can even ask Copilot what questions are unresolved. It's just amazing to see this happen in real time during a meeting.
I'd like to move on now to a introduction to what we call intelligent recap. Some of you may have already used this. Intelligent recap is a feature that I've been using day in, day out. It's actually available through an add-on called Teams Premium. Teams Premium basically allows you to have an AI featured features such as intelligent recap. And what is intelligent recap does, it's basically a great way to get started with AI because it is built in, and it basically going to automate for all of the users who have access to who has the add-on, the license add-on. It's going to give them access to the segments of the recording of the meeting that they have with the video timeline, with the markers, and all of this is always going to be available after the meetings that they had. And the way Copilot is actually going to expand on intelligent recap is with the ability to ask any question about the meeting that is going on. Copilot is on demand. So based on each user's unique questions or prompt, Copilot is going to use a conversational UI. And Copilot is available during, but also after the meeting, which allows you to also take your insight and discovery of the content of what was said in the meeting to the next level. For some of you who are familiar with Teams Premium, you know that Teams Premium, on top of Intelligent Recap, also includes some advanced capabilities around investor relations. So the ability to have a lot of people into a call. It's important for you to know that IR features is included into Teams Premium, and it's going to be included into Copilot for Microsoft 365 in the very near future. So now that we've seen that technology, now that we've seen all of this is really going to change the way you and I are working, we're going to need tools. We're going to need, your users are going to need tools to help them learn and experiment. And that's where Copilot Lab is all about.
Introducing Copilot Lab, a new experience that will help people build new work habits for a new AI-powered era of productivity. Copilot Lab is a place to experiment, to learn the art and science of prompting. You'll learn how to turn a good prompt into a great one. Share your favorite prompts with coworkers, and get inspired as we all learn to work in a whole new way together.
So, we've talked about Copilot. We've talked about Copilot for Microsoft 365. We talked about how important it is. We now need to take a little step back and do a little exercise around return on investment. Because you and I, at the end of the day, we're all measured based on how much return any initiatives that we're driving is going to be providing value for our business, right? So what I've done with my team is I've done a little exercise where my goal here is to estimate the amount of time I spent on using my favorite apps, right? And then from there, I made assumptions based on how much time I'm able to save, but I've been able to transform that time saved in dollars, just to help me have a sense of how much money. I know how much time I was able to save, but if I were to put $1 in that amount of time, how much am I actually able to provide in terms of dollars? So what I found out with my team is, we're talking at about 40% reduction in terms of working hours using Copilot. And obviously, all of these includes writing your emails, making all these PowerPoint presentations, creating documents and providing analysis and all that good stuff. So overall, we have estimated the amount of time that we were able to save to be about 40%. If we assume a $25 wage hourly, and then we assume about 48 weeks of work per year, what we've seen here is that on a per user basis, on average, we're looking at a little less than, a little more than $9,500 per employee. That's the amount of value that we're able to provide in time. Obviously, that's purely based on the assumptions that we came up ourselves. But I just want to encourage you to start thinking about how you can start using this technology and really see the value about it, and which is really a great segue. If I would encourage you to stay at the end, because we do have some announcement that we would like to put forth and encourage you to try Copilot. But before we go there, and I do have another 15 minutes left before we go into the Q&A, we actually want to do a quick deep dive into Deep Desk. And again, it's Deep Desk. It's not DeepSeek, which has nothing to do with Deep Desk. Deep Desk is your Copilot for your contact center agents. Some of you have a contact center. Some of you have a dedicated help desk or a customer service desk dedicated in helping a lot of your callers coming in. Some of you may have a contact center that is multi-channel, meaning that you want to use and you can take voice calls coming into the call center. But some of you are also using digital channels such as email, such as chats, but also social media typically. So what this Copilot is doing, this is a generative AI Copilot, and that's what it looks like. This Copilot is currently used within organizations that have a lot of agents, and really the goal here is to provide these agents the ability to do much more than just having the phone or the chat. What example, a use case that we've done with a customer, some of you may be aware of this customer, it's DHL, which is a global leader in courier services. We've deployed Deep Desk for DHL as an agent. We call it a Copilot or an agent assist. And we've done this only for their digital and email queues. So these are agents, there's about 100 of them, who are basically handling a little over 1 million chats per year. So these are all the chats, people asking questions and wanting to interact with an agent directly using chats. What we've done is we've deployed Deep Desk, and we've integrated Deep Desk with the existing CRM that is actually being used by DHL, which in this case is Salesforce. And over an 18 months period, what has been phenomenal is the amount of interactions that we've been able to automate for DHL, and the amount of automated interactions, characters that were actually being generated by this Copilot, by Deep Desk. This has resulted in about $1 million being saved, US dollars being saved for DHL. And again, this is only on a digital and email queues. We're not even talking about how much money we've been able to save them on voice queues. So overall, the value that we're bringing with AI is not only increasing productivity for agents, but also improving the quality of services providing to the end customers, and also importantly is being able to provide the agent a much nicer job, a much more happiness in the way we've improved the way the agent are doing jobs. Because as you probably know, walking on a call center sometimes is a very, very stressful job, and being able to automate and free up some of the time to be able to only focus on value-add task has been a real game changer. Deep Desk is fully composable. It actually going to work with any platform of your choice, whether you have Genesis Cloud, you have Salesforce, you have Dynamics, Ring Central. These are all the systems that are able to work with Deep Desk. We do have the ability to also provide you a fully self-managed version. Should you have like a custom backend, because we have access to APIs, we can actually work with that as well. We do have a lot of flexibility in the way we do the business. We deploy Deep Desk. Deep Desk actually allows you to also work with your own LLM. So if you have your own Copilot, and you want to basically have Deep Desk to only work within a specific framework, a specific topic, we can actually instruct Deep Desk on where to find the answers of all the questions that are potentially being asked by your customers, and it's actually going to be used. And you can only teach that, and you can only pick up any knowledge that you want Deep Desk to work on. And that is why it's extremely flexible and adaptable. And again, for some of you who might be interested who are working with other CRMs such as Salesforce, this is what it looks like when you do have Deep Desk fully embedded into the Salesforce user interface. And here I'll finish with the Genesis Cloud, because Genesis is a very, very
Solulan, the hidden side of your success.
very popular contact center solution that is being used. This is how Deep Desk actually provides itself as a copilot to agents.